Hello fellow YouTubers, Bear Prepper here. Well, today it's time to get a little organized. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get our medical gear in some sort of order. We have a bunch of medical supplies up at the house, and then we have some here, and we're trying to figure out what we have and what we don't have. So the first step is to open up all the tubs and figure out what's in it. So what we're going to start doing is, I don't think we're going to go with these kind of tubs anymore. For some things, yes, but for most, no. We're going to go with the clear ones, mainly for medical supplies and stuff. And to be able to organize things in smaller groupings, this is the sanitary box, the feminine hygiene. And it's got what the family uses and what we can share with others in it. This is going to be our kitchen wrapping. We've got, the slow cooker bags and the parchment paper and the saran wrap and the foil and some Ziplocs. Not enough of any of it, except maybe the foil. I think we've got plenty of foil. If you have a chance to go to Sam's Club, go ahead and get the restaurant size. It'll save you in money, big time, for your storage. Always keep some of the other ones for your everyday use, especially when it's on sale. So in here we're going to have the paper products. You always want to have some plastics, forks and spoons. We have a bag in here full, big trash bag full of forks, spoons and knives, plastic, so that you can use that when there just is no energy to do anything else but to throw it away. So you want paper plates and things like that. I really like Southern Prepper's idea on the toilet paper to put it in trash cans, but I want to find an easy way to remove the cardboard, because in the place of 4 rolls you can store 5 rolls. And when you're dealing with a large group, the room necessary to store that. I mean, this is a 14 by 20 room, and it's packed. Can you imagine if I had enough toilet paper for 20 people for a year? That's a lot of toilet paper. And you don't want to leave it out, because if you happen to get mice, they're going to use that to build nests. So you've got to store it in something. We've also moved all our feed into metal trash cans, because we've been getting bugs. And so we got it in the metal trash bags. Now this is my hodgepodge bucket right now, but it's got toiletries in it mainly. And, all my canning supplies and that kind of stuff. So we're going to try to set these up in separate tubs where you can see it. It'll work out really nice. As far as medical supplies that we have out here, you have your basics, your vinyl gloves and your baby wipes. I buy the cheaper ones, but you've got to check and make sure they haven't dried out. This one is starting to dry out. You can Mylar them, and then they won't dry out at all. But they usually hold pretty good, and they're the cheapy ones. But every now and then you get one that's opened, and you can also tell by the weight of it. No big loss, because you buy them pretty cheap. Eyeglass repair kit. That's something most people forget, but you really should have that. Eyeglass repair, denture repair, crown repair, all those kind of little things you need to have on your shelf. Band-Aids like everybody else has got. This is my respirator, so that if you need it for somebody who's incapacitated, you have a way to give them oxygen. Well worth the money. And I have a child cap in there. These are my IV tubings. Now, I don't have any saline bags at this time. I'm getting ready to order them. But I've been doing some research on that. And your saline bags, you pretty much want to use for surgery. But rectal rehydration is something they used to use long time ago in history. And if you mix up the solution, I'm going to buy the packets of solution because they contain the potassium in them. Potassium is pretty important, but apparently your colon will absorb regular water, so it doesn't have to be, purified and all that. And your colon will clean the water before it absorbs it. And so I'm going to order a bunch of those, because you don't want to really, you can clean them, of course, and reuse them. But I think what I'm going to do is we'll clean them and put a person's name on it. So they're the only ones that will use that. So I have to have enough for everybody. Hemorrhage control bandage. There's all kinds of stuff in here. That's another hemorrhage control. Hydrocortisone. A lot of this stuff, you can go to the dollar store and you can get this really cheap. We've got IV administration sets. It does not have the bag, but it gives you the setup. Does not contain the needle for intravenous. Let's see what we got here. This is a Lingerol Mask Airway. Now, I have a family member who has trachea collapse. She's got, I don't even remember what the name of it is, but it's like a lupus. It's a blood disorder where your blood, your body attacks yourself. And her trachea shrivels up. And she's had quite a few surgeries. If it was an emergency and there were no medical doctors around, this particular one is one that anybody can put in, and you can keep them alive until you can get them to help. It's one of the ones that's recommended. I talked to a doctor about it, and this is what he recommended. So we have that for her, strictly for her. We have some clothes in here, some ammonia inhalants. Not a lot of stuff out here. Most of it's in our bag. We've got the tourniquets and all that kind of stuff. But all of this, I'm going to bring it all to the house with the additional stuff my daughter has been purchasing. Medical is going to be her responsibility. And so we're going to send her some courses for EMT, and she started to get supplies. She went to Southern Prepper 1, to the Patriot Nurse, and to TMP, and where else? Oh, and Dr. Bones and Nurse Amy, and found out what they all recommended and has been ordering it all. So we'll have her walk you through some of that stuff, and she can explain its use, because that's going to be her job, and it's a way to make sure she gets trained in it. You need to have a blood pressure cuff, a stethoscope, an O2 checker. There's just simple things that you can purchase that can and make it a lot easier. I know Southern Prepper 1's been going through some videos on setting up his emergency medical station. We're not looking to be helping others. We're looking to help ourselves. But he brought up some really great points in his videos. He's got a bunch of them, and you really should take a look. Same with the Patriot Nurse. She's got a great video on fish antibiotics and what antibiotics keep in stock. And of course, we'll be stocking up on that. So there's just a lot of things that, can really help you in a trauma situation. I think one of the things that most of us forget about is the simple things. If you're off grid or a non-medical, non-clean situation because your water is limited, then every cut becomes the potential for death. And so, you really need to stock more of the basics for simple cuts and scrapes to keep things clean, so that you don't run into these, bad things. Southern Prepper 1 talked about the flu. Imagine how devastating your camp's going to be if over half of you have the flu. What are you going to do for them? And that's, what got me thinking, okay, so what can I do for rehydration? IV bags and needles, and having the skill to insert them, and the danger of contamination. It's just not a viable option for most home use for most groups. So rectal rehydration is a valid option. So check it out. And as we get our medical stuff in, I'll have my daughter show you guys what it's like. Blessings.